Okay, we're back for the third part of the koala game, or the good game, and now it's time to save some koalas. First, I noticed something when I brought in my koalas that the speed had been set to 0, so I wasn't getting any animation, so I set the speed to 30, and it seemed to fix it. So you need to come through to all these and set the speed of your animated ones to 30. Seems to work pretty good. You can look at it and see what you think. 30 seems good for me. This, you can set this to 30 also if you want, although there's no animation, so it won't make a difference. So you need to fix that speed. Alright, now we're going to make a controller object which is going to use a lives. We're going to use a lives, a built-in lives thing, to keep track of how many rescued koalas we have. So first, let's bring in some sprites. We've got the exit sprite, we've got the exit 2 sprite, and we've got the rescued sprite. And the rescued sprite did need some doctoring. They all need a little doctoring with the magic wand tool to get rid of the green. Alright, let's make an object controller. I'll get rid of this. I haven't done that yet. So let's create an object. OBJ controller. It does not need a sprite. The first event we're going to add to it is a creation event. Middle mouse button to move that over. And we are going to set lives. If you can't find it, you may have to search for it. And we are going to set the lives to 0. So when it starts, we have 0 lives, and that's going to represent the number of saved koalas. Middle mouse button. So we come back over here. Now we're going to do a key press, and we're looking for the escape key here. So probably under other and escape. We are going to use that to send us back to go to a specific room. And we are going to send that back to the front end room. So when you hit escape, you go back to the front end room, and then you have the option of quitting from there. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to put our exits on a different layer, so it looks like the koala goes behind the layer and disappears. So over here in your room editor with the layers, we are going to create a new assets layer. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Let's delete that. I want to create a new instance layer. And let's rename that layer, call it exits. Okay. With this exits layer selected, you can come down and you can set the depth after you unlock it to 10. And we will put our exits, when we put them in the room, we'll make sure that's selected when we drag it in the room. Okay. Now let's create both of our exits. One exit will disappear after it gets used, and the other exit will not. So it can only be used one time, the one that disappears. So let's close all the windows. Let's create an object. OBJ exit 1. Let's give it our exit 1 sprite. Now, this exit is only going to have an interaction when it has a collision with our koala object. Double click on that. And what we're going to do is we're going to check to make sure if expression place snapped 40/40, and we want the koala, not a 40, yeah. And we want to check to see if the koala has moved all the way onto the exit. So we're going to wait for the koala. So we have to set this for the koala. If it is snapped into place, we are going to destroy. And now this is going to be other, which would be the koala. So the koala looks like it disappears. And we're also going to set the lives to 1 plus 1 relative. But that's also going to be on the controller because the controller is handling the lives. So when the koala hits the exit, we're going to make sure the koala is all the way on the exit. We're going to destroy the instance of the koala, which is other, and we're going to set the lives on the controller to 1. So let's select all these. Let's right click and let's copy them. Let's come down here to the objects. Let's create a new object. Let's give it the sprite of exit 2 and let's call it obj exit 2. Add events, and we are going to do again a collision event with the koala. I'm going to right click in here and I'm going to paste. Okay, but this time I'm also going to destroy self, so I'll destroy the exit too, so you can't use it again. So those should be my 2 exits. Now let's see if we can go on to the next room. We're going to set up the controller to see if we can go on to the next room when there are certain situation. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a step event. So we got step, step, okay? And we have to do something called get instance count. So let's search for that one. Get in instances. There we go. Get instance count. And first we're going to check to make sure that there is. We're going to check to see how many. Oh, I want to see how many dead koalas there are in the room. But I also want to see how many koalas are in the room. For now, we're just going to do the koalas because we'll set up the hazards later, and I'll show you how to check for that later. So we're going to check to see if there are koalas. So what this does, it checks to see how many koalas in the room, and it saves it as this variable. So let's rename it so it makes sense. Variable is a place in memory where the computer can store information. So it checks how many koalas, and then that number gets stored here so it's not lost. Okay, if they are, now we have to check for that variable. So we are going to look, let's delete this to see if I have it up right here. Alright, so we're going to check if the variable, I'm going to copy and paste this, koalas, which we just created. So if the variable, oops, I did if expression. Excuse me. I want if expression. Okay. If the variable, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, I'm stupid. Where is it? If, there we go. Yes, there, that looks better. If the variable, there we go, of koalas is equal to 0, we're going to go on to the next room. So let's put the go to next room in there. So is it up in my favorites? No. Let's go to the next room. Okay, so let's check for instance of koalas. Save it to this variable. If the variable koalas, we just saved a value in there, is equal to 0, we're going to go to the next room. And we'll worry about the dead koalas later because we don't have any dead koalas at this point. So let's see if this works. Let's see. Do I have a good test room? Let's see. Here's my test room. Oh, well, there's no exits in the test room. That would help. So I can grab these exits. I can drag myself. Oh, I don't have the snap right, so we better change the snap on the grid in the room to 40 by 40. Everything's lined up. I don't know why. And let's try a couple different exits. And let's see if we go to the next room. Alright, so okay, good, okay. Now we can figure out what's going on. Thought my sound failed there for a little bit. So I can grab, let's actually put the controller in the room. That would help. Well, let's try it. Sound. Alright, got the sound back. Alright, here we go. Let's start. Let's see with the controller if it does any better. Alright, cool. It did better. It should kick me back to the front end now. Alright. Okay, let's add some little aesthetics here to the controller so we can draw the rescued that we brought in and draw a little sprite, a little live sprite up here. So we're going to go back to our controller object and use that to do it. We're going to add a draw event, a regular draw, and we're going to draw a sprite. So let's see. Yay, draw a sprite. And it's going to be the rescued sprite. And let's draw that 10 and y of 0 in the upper left hand corner. Now we're going to draw instances of lives. Let's see. Draw instances of lives. There we go. And we're going to use the stand. We can use that. We already have that done. Horizontal. And x150 to put it a little bit in front of the thing. So let's have this. Let's have a go at this. Let's have a little play here.